I'm Joe Wallace for Gearwire.com. This is the Gearwire Gossip video blog edition, kind of an experiment we're doing with the Gossip column and video blogging. We'd love to hear from you about it. Drop by Gearwire forums and let us know what you think. We posted one last week. We're going to post a couple more this week and just see how it goes. Gearwire forums is definitely the place to drop by and throw your rotten tomatoes or tell us what you liked and didn't like. Kicking things off for the vblog this time, Arturia announces its first ever hardware synth. It's called the Origin, and it's going to contain a whole bunch of modules from things like Moog Modular, the 2600 by ARP, the Mini Moog, and a whole lot more. Now, that's already been talked to death, but what's really interesting to me is the way you can combine these modules to make unique sounds out of these other classic sounds. And that's thanks in part because of the use of an Analog Devices DSP processor called Sharc. Arturia claims the Sharc inside the Origin is going to give the Origin more power than a dual-core PC processor. Pretty heavy claim. We'll try and get our hands on one of these Origins when they hit the shelves in September and give it a test drive, see what we can do. Arturia says the Origin isn't your father's hardware system. This is, quote, an integrated system that's the best of both the hardware and software worlds, unquote. The company promises more info next month, and again, the release of the very first Arturia hardware synth, the Origin, comes in September at an MSRP of just under $3,000. Save your pennies. Last week in the print edition of Gearwire Gossip, I talked about the little controversy going on between Stanton and Native Instruments. Stanton is pretty disappointed that there is no Intel Mac support for FinalScratch 2. And they were basically begging people to go over to Native Instruments and ask them to write software support for the Intel Mac for FinalScratch 2. Now, according to Native Instruments, they had originally planned to maintain FinalScratch compatibility in their new Tractor 3 for an indefinite period of time. They didn't have time, according to press releases from Native Instruments, to develop an Intel Mac version of the support for FinalScratch 2, and then they say Stanton Magnetics issued and never retracted a legal statement forcing Native Instruments to remove FinalScratch timecode compatibility from the Tractor platform. Now, what does all that mean? If you're into FinalScratch and you're an Intel Mac user, you're kind of screwed. But Native Instruments says, in their minds, a favorable alternative is to offer a special cross-grade for FinalScratch owners. They can switch to the Tractor Scratch system at greatly reduced costs while allowing them to keep their FinalScratch system. This basically means you get to spend more money. I'll let our viewers who own FinalScratch 2 and Intel Macs decide how they feel about that one. Now, last week, our very first vblog for Gearwire Gossip, we talked a little bit about Martin Atkins' book, Tour Smart. That's the book that Atkins wrote using the benefit of his 30 years as a touring musician to give people who don't have as much experience advice on how to manage a tour, how to avoid pitfalls and potholes along the way, the little tricks and tips you can do to make your tour easier and a lot more manageable. I dropped Martin Atkins an email last week to the website at tstouring.com, which is plugging the book. But we haven't heard back from him yet. We'd really like to talk to Atkins and get his 2 cents worth on the book and maybe even a little advice for our Gearwire readers and viewers on what they can do to help themselves when it comes time for that first tour. As soon as my team of bounty hunters tracks down Atkins and extracts a few good comments from him, we'll let you know. That's it for this edition of Gearwire Gossip. Please drop by the Gearwire forums. Let us know what you think of the vblog idea and Gearwire Gossip in general. I'm Joe Wallace for Gearwire.com.